Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the open house. I'm sorry I am late. Interesting morning. A lot of technical difficulties. I had the picture all freezing up on me and the like. A session right before this, some guy in India, and yesterday I pulled a hamstring and walked around for quite a while in in a constant state of pain. It's a little better today, but I am moving rather slow, and I have to sit in just the right position so that I'm actually not hurting. So I want to welcome you all to this tapping open house. You may have wondered why I called it the Energy Kitchen, and the reason why, I just ran across some nice pictures of kitchens and I said it's a good enough name as any. There's actually no important meaning behind it. So there's some special hidden meaning that somehow you think you all missed. You didn't. There was no special meaning at all. I just thought it was an interesting picture and an interesting name. I actually had a channel a while ago. Didn't do much with it, and I finally abandoned it, called the Mystic Kitchen. Put music and things up there, and I think I actually am going to be doing a new channel that's nothing but music I've written, just regular music for stuff, music for meditation, background, that kind of music, as well as guided meditations on it. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for it, because I have all this stuff. I might as well use it. So I am getting comfortable here now. Move the mic here where make sure you can all hear me. So if anybody's having a hard time hearing me, if it seems like it's too low, please let me know, and I will make adjustments. And yeah, if you came in late, so did I. No cooking today. No. Oh wow, pickles are a great energy. I love pickles. Does that mean? Oh, wow. Yeah, a whole new sense of identity. Yeah. Cool. Well, as always, I have absolutely no agenda for here, other than the agenda to end suffering, which is always my agenda, and especially the emotional suffering. You know, no one gets through life without experiencing pain. Point meant, right? And over the last year, I've broken my shoulder twice. I've not broken any other bone in my body except a toe, and my shoulder twice. And I've been through physical therapy. I've been through all sorts of things, and the shoulder doesn't hurt anymore, but now it's like up in my neck and the like. Now, the only reason I point that out is because both spirituality and emotional healing can present, as does, metaphysics and manifestation, law of attraction, all that, as if there's some sort of idyllic, perfect human state where we never experience pain or loss or grief. Everything's wonderful. Birds are singing, people are falling in love. Everything is just wonderful. Right? It doesn't exist. Human life is the play of opposites and always will be. What can be eliminated is suffering, the emotional suffering that comes from our various experiences, our disappointments, just life as it actually is, and not life as we believe it should be. So as I'm speaking, since this is a tapping gig, I want you to all just start tapping. Since you know how to do that. If you don't know how, you can watch me. Just tapping on these points. You don't have to do them in the order that I do them. You don't have to, move through them as quickly as I do, right? Or as as slowly as you want. If one feels particularly resonant with you, just stay there. I find that for me, this point right here is. You get tired of that, you can just rub the points. Works just as well. In some instances, better. Right? These are just comfort spots on the body, so you can close your eyes if you like, or not. Doesn't really matter. This is what I call presence tapping, which is you're simply being present with your body, with your experience as it is in this moment, and just allowing yourself to be in a receptive state, to receive new insights, new information, new feelings, new ideas. But just really be open to the possibility that there is the potential for an end of all human suffering. Now just take that in as a possibility. Oh yeah, quick. How do I get there? How do I get there? How do I get there? Well, first thing you do is just slow down. Slow down. The experience of human suffering is rather a whole complex combination of a bunch of things that take place. But as I love to remind people, the path, whether that be a very deeply spiritual path on the road to enlightenment, or if it is personal development, just healing of some sort, whether it be tapping. None of these were meant to be a lifelong pursuit. We don't take medicine for the sake of taking medicine. We take it until we don't need it anymore. The ultimate of every practice we do, be it towards psychological, emotional, physical healing, or spirituality, the end game is not for the practices to become perpetual. There is a means to the end of suffering. And since you're all here today, I can safely assume that you are on such a path, that you're really even devoted to it. So I'm going to invite you to just let go of the idea, the belief really, that this has to take a long time. A whole life, maybe multiple lifetimes. What if it doesn't? What if the shift out of suffering is a very subtle shift in perception? And it doesn't require having perfect circumstances, a utopian society, the absence of all challenges or problems, the absence of all pain. That it doesn't require any changing of conditions in order to experience a cessation of suffering. That it's all completely an internal transformation that takes place. Suffering being not the circumstances we experience, but the relationship we have with the circumstances, the meaning we give them, the sense of not being enough or lack projected onto them. Which would mean, of course, the key to ending suffering is completely within your hands right this minute, and can go as fast as you allow it to go, and are open to simply seeing yourself and your experience through different eyes. Now, for the most part, we've all lived our lives seeing ourselves and our experiences through the eyes of very, very fundamental, deeply ingrained assumptions. I call them energetic assumptions, deep in the body, that were put there long before we could think or feel or, well, not feel, of course we could feel, but think or discern. We were completely at the mercy of the nervous system and how it adapted to whatever environment you grew up in. And so this assumption built into us that we're not really ever safe. Safety is a condition. And over time, our minds came up with ideas as to a whole checklist of things that if these are in place, then I'm safe. Which, of course, we never get those in place. But then we also recognize that even if they were, I still don't feel safe. So it's such a state that even if I am safe, I can't feel safe because I might miss something. And so we go through life seeing through the eyes of the assumption that danger is there. Not might be there, could be, but is. I just don't see it. So I look through the eyes of that assumption. The assumption, I'm not enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not, fill in the blank, smart enough, pretty enough, rich enough, educated enough, creative enough, tall enough, young enough, old enough. I'm not enough in all of its various forms. Seeing through those eyes, we will experience life as if that assumption is true, even when it isn't. This is the power of our minds and our beliefs and our assumptions, especially the energetic ones deep in the system, to so govern our perception that everything we see, feel, touch, and do seems to confirm the assumption. Even if it's totally false, this will happen. If I believe myself to be unlovable, I will walk like an unlovable person. I will talk like an unlovable person. I will dress. I will choose friends accordingly, career, aspirations. All of it will be contained within this little bubble of belief. You will think of yourself as such a person, even though it's not true. And right now, what I'd like you all to do, just for fun, if you don't have your eyes closed, close them now. Actually, first, stop tapping for a second and take a couple breaths with your eyes closed. And just notice what state your body is in. And the tapping communicates, in my experience, safety through touch. So your body is getting the message of safety, even if it's locked in an assumption that it's not. So start tapping again. And I want you to just picture, who would you be? What would your life be like if you were completely and totally lovable, valuable, desirable, attractive, interesting to know? Who would you be? Now I want you to notice that you're probably going to experience some resistance. Physical, you can feel it, energetic, right? Something's kind of backing off. We'll get to that, don't worry about it. Right now, just notice it. But keep doing your best to try to just imagine. It's a creative visualization. We're not visualizing to manifest, right? This isn't a law of attraction group. It's an emotional healing group. So, you also may notice that it's hard to picture. It may be fuzzy. You may find yourself being constantly distracted. You may hear thoughts like, how's that going to happen? That's impossible. What's this going to do for us? What's this all about? What's he doing? All of those are simply the way in which the habitual energy in the nervous system of our assumption of not being lovable or valuable or significant or interesting to know, that has a momentum to it. It's in the system, it's operating, and it's been operating 24/7. So, it's going to take the shape of thoughts, feelings, sensations. Right? The mind is going to resist holding that image. It's going to want to get distracted from it, or it's going to be just really fuzzy. Right? I want you to persist. Just persist. Notice that all that is happening. When the mind says, well, how is this ever going to happen? Recognize it's just resistance to you even imagining it. So we're just exercising another muscle in us, which I like to call the visionary. And notice if you just let yourself envision it, even a little tiny bit, that there is something inside that's very drawn to it, that responds and says, ooh, 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 this is good, this is good. Even maybe a very weak voice. And the resistant voices could be very loud. And that's okay. We don't have to get rid of them. In fact, you can't. You can't. I'll tell you in a minute, Barb. It's a very simple practice that we don't really do because we're so used to having all these things shut down and giving so much authority to the resistance to even imagining it that we give up, which is, of course, exactly what it wants you to do. Give up trying to be or experience anything that is outside this little bubble of assumptions. Of course, it's going to resist that. Not because it hates you, not because it wants you to, it wants to mess up your life, but because the nervous system adapted to a particular environment to keep you safe. It has assumptions that it lives by. As long as those assumptions are true, it knows how to keep you safe. When you start to imagine something other than that, outside of this realm of its assumptions, it doesn't know if it can keep you safe. So, shut it down. Just don't let her or him even imagine it. Just shut it down before it ever gets off the ground. Which is why we're not very practiced at it. Which is why it can seem a little bit difficult, even a little clumsy. I just invite you to persist. Just persist. Yeah. Trust the old guy on the screen. Just persist. Try. And then try again. And then try again. And don't fight or vilify or resist the resistance. Recognize it for what it is. It is simply the trained behavior of the body-mind mechanism, which is animalistic in nature. It can't discern itself. It can't discern quality of life or anything. It's not interested in that. Only safety. So, acknowledge it. Thank you. I know you're just trying to keep me safe. Man, you're doing a great job. So, thank you. But I also want more freedom. By the way, if your eyes are open and I stop tapping, you keep tapping. Sometimes I start tapping because I got to concentrate on what I'm going to say. So you're exercising another part of you that has simply not been exercised, namely the visionary, the creative one of you, the one who longs for growth, expansion, freedom of self-expression. So now, just take in this question. Actually, let your body take in this question. Is it possible that you, the body, nervous system, could keep me safe and allow me to be free, to express more of me, at the same time? We're not trying to grab onto a vision and impose it. It's a very natural thing for us to envision, grow, expansion, and the like. Don't grab onto it and see resistance as an enemy. Creates a conflict. The conflict actually makes the resistance stronger. Loves a good fight. It just loves it. Oh yeah, battle. Puts on the gloves. Loves it. This is about loving it. It's just part of you. Necessary. Obviously, this vision of who you'd be, you were completely lovable and acceptable as you are. No need to change. No cosmetic surgery needed. Just you, right now. That vision. But then just let it go. That is, don't grab onto it. Just recognize that, oh, this is a part of me too. This is an expression of my inner need for freedom, as much as I need safety. And of course, if that image, if that vision really did put you into danger, well, it'd be a pointless vision, wouldn't it? If I got my vision and I was dead, wouldn't be a whole lot of fun. There has to be this balance and flow between safety and freedom. Safety and freedom. Safety and freedom. They've got to work together. All right. You could let that all go now. You could stop tapping. Just take a couple of breaths. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. They're not already open. And I'd love to just hear some comments from folks as to the effect that's had. There was one time I formalized that into a process I called inner reconciliation, and I still love the term. Right? We have to reconcile with all the various energies that are in us human beings. We all know that. We have so many contradictions. we are not consistent critters. Right? I can like one thing one day and hate it the next. Right? Is there something wrong with that? No, that's what we're like. It is possible to be really brilliantly creative one day and just dense as a post the next. I experience it all the time. Just such a flow of ideas for courses and videos and music. Right? The next day, like sit in the corner drooling. There's just nothing. It's all this flow. It's all this flow. When you visualized, as best as you could, even if it was a tiny, tiny bit, who you'd be if you were lovable. Where that vision comes from is the reality in you that you are lovable. Right? You were taught to not believe that, not by somebody sitting down and programming you in your head, but simply the way you were treated when you were young. And this happened to all of us. Parts of us that simply weren't acceptable to the culture, to the parents, to the schools, to the churches. And of course, they had the absolute authority, so you basically suppressed big chunks of who you are. If the abuse was very severe, it could be huge swaths of you, completely out of touch. And the nervous system naturally assumes, because your parents, churches, school, they're gods. They're always right. Therefore, if they're not treating you lovingly, it must mean that I'm not lovable. This is the assumption that the nervous system draws. It's the nervous system. It's energetic. It's not a thought. It's a way of being in the world at a very primal level. And that becomes the assumption based on the experience, but it's an incorrect assessment of it. It wasn't that you weren't lovable. It was they couldn't love you. They didn't have the capacity or the willingness, or who knows why. Who knows why? But it was never you. But the nervous system has been living for years as if it were. And so it's going to be resistant to you picturing yourself as someone who is lovable. Because it was never true in the first place. Have you ever met a kid who wasn't lovable? Especially when they're very little. Over time, more and more conditioned, they're learning how to interact with the system. They can become quite unlovable, quite difficult, in fact. I've dealt with several of them. I used to teach. I actually taught at a private school with music and substitute taught. And there were some, and I also cook in the daycare center. And my decade of odd jobs, yeah. And there are some that were really difficult. They'd already been put into these but it's not their nature. It's nobody's nature. It's not our nature to reject ourselves, to dislike ourselves. Children don't dislike themselves. They actually like themselves quite a bit. So it's learned. And the only reason this process of emotional healing can be protracted or difficult is because we're simply dealing with a momentum and a sense of identity that has been trying to mask, hide, or compensate for the assumption that I'm not lovable, when in fact you are. Always become somebody else, do things better, if I can get this to work, if I lose a little weight, all of those things, none of which are true. So true emotional healing is discovering your true authentic self. That's only done, it's only accomplished through the process of becoming safe for yourself. Establishing as a baseline the sense of safety within the nervous system, which dissolves the assumption and allows for the true authentic you to emerge. That's my approach to this. That's why the level 1 of the EFT training or immersion is the art of creating a safe space. Level 2 is the soul-body, healing the soul-body disconnect, which is a disconnect from our authentic self, our soul, and from our body. And then level 3 is the bridge, right? From emotional healing to spirituality, to spiritual identity. Right? It starts with safety, the art of creating a safe space. That is the whole of it. With that, everything else becomes easy. So let me see what people wrote here. Actually, you could say hello to people as well. Let me pull this back here. Oh, sorry, Ava. Didn't mean to put you up there. Me and button pushing. Oh, I forgot. Barb. Today, this is yerba mate, if you know what that is. I used to be down in Argentina a lot. My ex-wife was from Buenos Aires. We had a condo down there. We'd go back and forth a lot, spend time down there. And in Argentina, Uruguay, and Chile, they drink yerba mate. It's a kind of a tea, and they drink it out of a gourd. It's a gourd that's been hollowed out, dried, and then cured with sugar water. And then this guy is called a bambilla, or in Argentine speak, bambisha. You can see it's got the little holes down at the bottom. So you can actually just put it in the tea. You don't need to have a strainer. You don't need a tea bag. It strains it out as you're drinking it. And I just love these things so much. I use it on everything. Even if I have tea, I'll just throw the tea in there. If it's a tea bag, I'll open it and I'll dump it in because I just love doing it. But it's almost a ritual down there that after dinner or something, you would the host would put the the yerba mate into the gourd, and put the thing in there, the hot water, and hand it to somebody who would then drink it, hand it back. It was a little ritual that would go to everybody in the group, and I just loved it. But then I fell in love with it. So that's ever since, and that's been like, 10, 15 years. I just kind of picked that one up, and I love it. So there's the story behind that. Way more information than I know you needed or wanted, but I thought I would be thorough. So, Amy LS, hi there, also known as Brenda. Hello, Brenda. Wonderful, wonderful. Even Sally, Jonas, my man. And CM, that's my girl Christina. Let's see. Gee, and everyone, I miss EFT sessions. A bit unusual not to see faces like on Zoom. Yeah. Well, that's the classes. When I'm doing an open house like this, I want to make it just open and people can wander in and out at will. So it's not something I have to register for in advance and the like. And quite frankly, it's a way I get more people interested in the EFT courses themselves. And my particular approach to EFT, which is different, as those of you who have taken the courses know, and anybody who's just kind of watched these knows that I do take a very different approach to it. But that's simply because of my background. It's as a spiritual seeker long before I discovered the tapping stuff. So, yes. And Brenda, it's fantastic to meet you. You too, my friend. There's Ida, Raham. Good to see you. And then, hello. Yeah, I'm here now. Yeah, these are earlier, aren't they? Yeah. Happy Saturday from Ms. Nay. Hello, Ms. Nay. And there's Ali. You did not miss anything. Yes, I was later than all of you. There's Ava. Ida, be well. Thank you. It's been funny. It took me. It's a little better today. I'll even walk up and down stairs. Taking my shoe off on my left side, which is where the injury was. I can't actually do it. I have to bend over, get almost all the laces out so that shoe actually falls off because I can't move it enough. It hurts anyway that I move it. So I'm okay now. It's just a little bit of discomfort in my bum on that side. No cooking today, correct? Be well, thank you. Glenn, pickles are a great energy food for the mystic, like me. Glenn's a mystic. Wonderful. Everybody's wishing me better. Barb says, just picture my lovely face. So I've answered Barb's question about the tea, and it is delicious. I do love to put honey in it. I love honey in most things, actually. So anyway, okay, Brenda says, I saw myself with children, and they're with me, and horses. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Remember, in visualization and manifestation, we're supposed to hold these images really tightly, raise our vibration, and then get that. That puts such a strain on us and such judgment because we never do. What I'm after isn't the actual thing, but the capacity to allow our inherent sense of freedom and love and value and abundance, all the things, allow it freedom to form images. But they're always going to be changing. For example, everybody has a sense of what home feels like, right? Even if you've never had one, the only reason you could know that you never really had a home is somewhere inside you know what it should feel like. I'm one of those. My home life as a child was horrendous. Never felt at home or welcome. I was told. I was told I was a guest, right? It's very clear whose place this was, and that I was welcome as long as I was what I was supposed to be. So it went with me my whole life until I began to discover this, that sense of home that's there. Now, I could have you visualize a home, children, nice, the house in the country, on the beach, whatever. People that you love around you, the whole deal. Now, 5 years ago, if I'd asked you to do that, it'd be in a different image, wouldn't it? 5 years from now, a different image. Tomorrow, you may have a different image. And so the image isn't as important as what the image is actually manifesting, which is much more fundamental. The sense of home. And needless to say, it can take all sorts of different forms. Right? I feel at home in the place that I'm in now, which is simply a room. It's a big room. It's a nice room that I've just kind of made into my own. But I have a shared kitchen and things like that. I also used to have a condo on Miami Beach overlooking the ocean. That felt like home too. So it isn't the form. That's what our minds get attached to. And that's what we want to break. So we're not just trying to visualize to make a specific thing happen, but to liberate the sense in us that is not bound simply by the conditions and is free to experience, to experiment, to try things out. Because that sense of home, we didn't create that. It's inherent. The manifestation of it can take all sorts of different forms. When you see that, then tapping emotional freedom isn't about getting a particular thing, but by finding your real authentic self and everything that it is already included in that. You came batteries included. And then seeing how that takes shape in your life becomes a surprise and a joy. So, let's see. Sally's with her ideal love, and we travel together. Beautiful. Isabel, it would be such a release from social anxiety. Well, okay, very good. Yeah. So, get to the rest of this. The feelings associated with being lovable bring joy and hope. These feelings trigger a huge danger signal in my body. I'm beginning to understand why I feel like I've lost hope. Yes. It's a relief to know it's okay to have days when you feel uninspired and even empty. Sounds yum. Very, very good. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. When I got up this morning, I had chiropractic treatment for this the other day, the shoulder, which acts up occasionally. The shoulder break will actually affect my life all the way up and down. So I wake up this morning with this pain in my ass, basically. All these other things, all the symptoms, I'm like exhausted. My body's feeling traumatized because of everything it's been through. I can barely walk down the stairs. I sit down to have my morning latte that I make, feeling, I don't want to do this. Do I have to do this open house? Yes, I do. It's part of the deal. I had no inspiration whatsoever. None. But it had to be done. I sat down. I saw what happens. Stuff's coming out. Stuff's coming out that will be exactly what you all need. So, yeah. Here, tap with me, everybody. Again, you don't have to say what I'm saying. Another difference from what most Most EFT facilitators do. They're good. I'm not denying that, right? Just different. Yeah. What if it's okay for you to not be perfect? Just what if it's okay? What if it's possible to actually be really brilliantly creative one day and, dense as a mud fence on another? And it didn't affect your value, your lovableness, your usefulness. What if it was okay to just ebb and flow with life? And that it was safe to. The body didn't have to guard against that, hide it. Nobody see that. What if it was just okay? Would that be all right? What if we can choose to disassociate our sense of worth and value from the normal ups and downs, emotional variances, the physical variances that happen every day with cycles? Women, it can be the monthly cycle. Things happen. Daily cycles. Some parts of the day just feel more energetic than others. What if that's just okay? Choosing to disassociate my value from what in fact is just human. And then I'm still lovable and I'm still safe. Stop and take a breath. Just kind of let that settle in. You'll notice that the way I do things, I never assert anything. It's always a question. Because you have to invite the energy of the nervous system, which is very much in a pattern, an energetic pattern. You have to invite it to kind of open up and look around and see if this assumption is still true. It was once. Is it still true? I'll do a little bit more of that in a minute. And again, so for you, Isabel, what if it was possible for you to be social without anxiety? In other words, you could be social and safe at the same time. Would that be okay? You can tap along if you guys like. Simple question, right? It's obvious if there's social anxiety, the nervous system assumes there's danger. Assumes it, hence the anxiety. It isn't looking to see, is there or isn't there? Right? Because some situations, you do need to be on alert. There's a very natural kind of heightened awareness or heightened alertness in an environment where you're meeting all new people. It's a natural elevation, but then eventually calms down. But if it stays there, that means there's an assumption that it's going to be dangerous. You're going to be rejected. You're going to be, passed over. Just inviting the nervous system to just check it out. If it's dangerous, well, great. You know what to do. Make me feel anxious. Panic me. Get me to leave. It's fine if there's really danger, but just check. Because there was danger once, real danger, and you had to shut me down. But maybe that danger isn't there anymore. Maybe I can be social and feel safe at the same time. Maybe the danger might be there, but it's not assumed. So I don't have to prepare in advance. I can wait till it shows. And if there's danger there, you know what to do. But not assume it's there. Actually look and find out. All right, take a breath, everybody. Christine, the feelings associated with being lovable bring joy and hope. The feelings trigger a huge danger signal in my body. I'm beginning to understand why I feel like I've lost hope. Yeah. The momentum of this assumption, right? That you can't be lovable. You're not lovable, period. Therefore, we need to protect her from doing anything that would express being lovable because she's going to get hurt. That's the assumption. There's always danger to being lovable, to actually feeling or even imagining being lovable. Right? Shuts it all down because early on you were treated as if you weren't. It got internalized as a fact, and the nervous system adapted to it, which was perfect because in that environment you weren't. It needed to do that. You just say, well, what if I'm not? What if that's not true? What if I am lovable? Yeah, it's going to trigger a danger. Thank you, I get it. Ooh, yeah, and you're trying to get me to back away. Right, but I don't want to back away. I only want to back away if it's still dangerous. And yep, you're really good at this. You actually make me feel as if I lost hope. Maybe that's not what I actually feel, but simply part of the strategy to keep me contained and keep me safe. Because in fact, I do feel hope. I understand you regard that as dangerous. I might do something to actually express myself and get hurt. Yes. And I don't want to be hurt. But what if I could express myself and not be hurt? Maybe even accepted. Hell, maybe even loved. If that's possible, I'd like that. If it's not, fine. Shut me down. You certainly know how to do that. But if it is, I want more of that. I'm just going to leave it to you. You just check it out. You actually are aware of more than I am, so thank you for even considering it. All right. Take a breath. Oh, Brenda and Amy. Oh, I got two there. Watching together now. Very good. Very good. IHCP? Is that something I should understand, or is that actually high GP? So you're on Amy's account, but you're watching together. Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, hearts back to you, Graham. Happy Saturday to you, Jill. To keep track of the time here. I have to be somewhere at 2. Ms. Nay, haven't visualized in a while due to wanting to be detached from wanting, and also fear of actually having the reality that matches the vision. It felt really nice. Felt a sense of gratitude. Perfect, yes. You know, this isn't manifestation, or I'm trying to grab on to that visualization. You know, the veins are popping out of my neck. it's exercising another part of you, another part of the human experience, which is vision. And it can make us, if it was that grabbing on, right? That's what in spiritual circles they would say, you don't want to do that. That's just, I want this, I want this, I want this, because it tends to be very egoic. Right? But anything that we want is coming out of our nature to love. We want to love, right? Is that a problem? Of course not, right? But there's also a sense of lack there that the nervous system assumes to be true, and therefore is trying to protect you from experiencing. Right? And that's what wants to grab on and hold something. So just let it go. Yes, there's a vision. 10 minutes from now could be different. Tomorrow almost certainly will be different. 10 years, guaranteed. Right? So, and when you do that, and you're not grabbing onto it, yes, it feels nice. You're allowing another part of you to have some space for self-expression, and that's what this is about. It's not about the thing; it's about the freedom. That freedom, as it takes shape, as it gets stronger, will dissolve the clutching, grippy stuff, the needs that are really just the desires that are really not pure. They're more about the ego and the sense of lack than they are actually about what would be really satisfying and evolving and growing for you. Those come out of the true self. And in the true self, you're not lacking anything. God, I hope I'm making this clear, because this is about coming into our emotional freedom. That's why it's called the Emotional Freedom Technique. I should have little signs put up there. But hold on a second. I've got to shift positions, and that could take me a second. Be very careful. So if I scream out in pain, no, I wasn't careful enough. Okay. Oh. Okay. And there's a sense of gratitude there too. Yeah. This is natural. There'll be a sense of trying to cling to it. Don't cling. Just let it be there. There's just be a sense of resistance. It's okay. Let it be there. It's just, this is really unconditional. That's what it is. And that's all it is. There's my other beverage, which I haven't had this morning. I usually drink this in the gym, but needless to say, there was no gym today. It wasn't even doing the exercise where I pulled the hamstring. I was actually putting the weights back in the rack. I just twisted in just the wrong direction. So I limped around there for a while. Anyway, okay. Ali, the image of home for me sometimes changes moment to moment because I'm not sure what I truly want at this stage, or even if it's attainable. Beautiful. So are you okay with just letting it change? It's kind of like when you're, like right now, you saw that. It was like, it's kind of like, well done this, right? Trying to find words to describe something, and they're not quite there, and you kind of, and then the word comes, and it's just right. Now, where are you looking? Where are you looking for that right word? Right? Not catalog. It's just kind of this, and the words just kind of come. We're kind of looking into this space. It seems to know. It just kind of knows. right? So let it change. Give it complete freedom to do that. Mine changes all the time. I think, what would be ideal home? Oh, jeez, I don't know. Right now, it would look like this. It might be a beautiful house in Malibu or Maui. It could be a loft in New York City. It could be just like a little cabin up in the mountains with smoke coming out of the chimney. Changes all the time. And what do you want at this stage of your life? You don't have to figure it out, because something inside of you just knows. For this moment, it's going to change in the next, right? Now that other thing, right? Tap with me on that. I don't know what I want. Okay, fine. Right? Now the second part. Is it even attainable? Notice, that's the resistance. Oh, don't even bother thinking about it. Right? Don't give any energy to that. How are you going to make that happen? I have no idea. Because what I'm looking for is the sense of home. And then let that take shape any way it wants. Right? Is it possible to have just a sense of being at home? With or without the manifestation of it. There's a lot of things I don't like about where I'm living. A lot of things I do. That might always be the case. Right? But is it possible to attain your true, authentic self? When we are simply being ourselves, we are at home in ourselves. Is that attainable? Is it possible to be so free that we simply are ourselves without having to apologize for it or justify it or anything? Just, I'm being myself. I'm at home, comfortable in my own skin. Yeah? Okay. Stop tapping, take a breath. Yeah. Because that's really what we're after. And believe me, the more solidified that is in us, it just naturally begins to manifest. You don't have to try to get anything or focus attention. It'll come in ways that will surprise you. I've just had one of those. Completely out of nowhere. Perfectly. Just perfect fit. From the most unlikely place you could possibly imagine. And yet, and I couldn't have. I simply couldn't have. And there it was. Just extraordinary. So, Villian, GP, we do a tapping about surrender and accept what is. The doer and ego are so strong. I still have anxiety about accepting also the pain and sensation in the body, mostly in the morning. Yeah, it's much old trauma trapped in the body. Yes, it is. Okay, we'll just start tapping. And I want you to recognize something. Right? Well, this is just what's here. Okay? There's a desire to surrender, to let go, and accept things as they are, to just really accept. And we want to surrender and let go because we believe that if we do, there'll be less suffering, right? So what we're really after is less suffering. And there's a resistance to surrender because we've all been trained to be doers, to make something happen. So if I stop doing, I can't possibly be free of the suffering. I've got to make something happen, and then I won't suffer anymore. So just let them both be there. The desire to be free of suffering and the old training as to how that is supposed to happen. Because I don't ask anybody to accept what is, just for the heck of it. Right? Accept the way things are. To be free of trying to force things into being anything other than that. And also, can you open yourself up to the possibility that things aren't the way you think they are? I don't have to accept things that are miserable. I don't have to accept that the current condition the world is in. Right? I don't have to approve of it or say this is okay, because it's not. So instead of using the word accept, just say, okay, can I acknowledge that this is here? Okay, it's here. Right? Fine. Notice that's a whole lot simpler. Accept seems like, oh, it's got to be okay that it's here. No, it doesn't have to be okay that it's here. First, just, it's here. I'm not going to deny it. Okay? I'm experiencing suffering. Okay, I acknowledge that. Much simpler. Right? Yes, it is here. What's also here is a desire for freedom from suffering. That's there too, isn't it? Okay, so let them both be there. They're there anyway. You might as well. Right? That's all allowing and accepting is. Doesn't mean you have to like it or anything like that. Surrender to it, right? Let's not put any overhead on it. It's just there. What's also there is a habitual sense that I've got to make something happen. I've got to do that. It hasn't been happening, therefore I'm to blame. I should be taking massive action, or should be meditating more deeply or longer, or visualizing. Right? Just let go of all of it. Right? You don't have to do anything. Let's just look at not what you have to do or what you should do, but what's actually here. There's a sense of suffering. There's conditions that are going on. And there's a deep desire to be free. Just let them all be there. And don't even say it's old trauma in the body. Right? That's an idea that we've put onto the experience we're having in the hopes that if that's what it is, then I can get rid of it. Then I can get myself, I can do something to be free of it. Right? So just put all of that aside. When I talk about trauma, it's because the energy itself revealed to me that it's a trauma. Not because I assumed it. It might not be. So just, I don't know what the hell it is. There's just a feeling here that that I'm suffering. This is difficult. There's a set of conditions here that may or may not be the cause of the suffering. And there's a desire to be free of suffering, to be free, to be happy. Now that's what's there. Now stop tapping, take a breath. And notice, just doing that, what's the difference in your experience? So what you've done is come into this place that's not fighting, it's not grabbing, it's not rejecting, it's just acknowledging. Okay, this is all here. Just that puts you in this position that I talk about it in level 2 of the EFT stuff. I call it the peacemaker. It's all here. Okay, there it is. I'm not surrendering it. I'm not accepting it. I'm just acknowledging it. Very simple. Yep, it's here. I wish it wasn't. That's here too. Now just notice how that feels. Simply being in this position of just letting it be as it is, without trying to force it to be anything else, including the activity of the ego and the doer and all of that. Okay? That's there too. Just take no position for or against. Now, what does that feel like? Notice that for everybody. And notice when I'm doing tapping, that's what I'm always doing. I'm always in that position of the peacemaker, and I'm always bringing you to it. There's never an argument with it. If you argue, you lose. The system is way better at defending itself than you are of vanquishing it. You can't vanquish it. Okay? There's only one way to vanquish it, and that is to be so loving towards it that it doesn't need to defend itself against you. That's it. That's all we're doing. Establishing a state of safety. The nervous system will detect it. And when it does, the defenses will start to drop. Suppressed stuff will start coming to the surface. We can take some guidance and some training to be able to deal with it, because it could be a lot of stuff there. And there will be a sense of freedom and a sense of relief almost immediately. So, thank you, Ida and Ms. Nay. You touched on the opening of the nervous system. Is it the feeling of relaxation? I feel like my nervous system attempts to open, relax. I mostly feel quite sleepy, and then it snaps back into hyperarousal. Yes. When you invite the nervous system to open, right, it's because it's closed, right? What does it mean to be closed? It simply means it assumes that it is not safe beyond this point. Right? So you've got to gently kind of bring it to a place where it can at least kind of, pick out and take a look without being in any danger. Right? When that happens, and it opens a bit, it may immediately contract. Remember, it's assuming there's danger. It can take a while for this to stay open long enough to go, well, it's not as dangerous. We'll pull back. Because remember, it's not thinking, it's sensing. And so hyperarousal is probably its current default state. And it's very, very, it takes a lot of gentleness and love and self-acceptance, acceptance of it, which is also self-acceptance, as it is, to give it the space in which it detects it's safe enough that it can take a look out and see if the danger is still there. Simple as that. Yeah. I love to tell the story about the Japanese soldiers from World War II, who years after the war was over were still at their posts, because this was before mass communication and like we have now. These guys are soldiers. They were defending. There were little islands all over the South Pacific that the Japanese had stationed people at. And it took them a while to convince them that in fact the war was over, that this wasn't a trick, to get them by the round eyes. It was real. In one case, they had to find the guy's commanding officer, put him in uniform, and have him go to him and tell him himself. That's the state of your nervous system. It does not know the war is over. It's just still at its post. Right? So something has to gain the trust enough that it'll go, really? And start to look. That's all this is. And you're just becoming trustworthy. You're becoming safe. And it's a remarkable thing, but you're becoming safe. And that's all this is about. And unfortunately, a lot of the personal development techniques, a lot of the psychological self-help, all of it, attempts to impose upon the nervous system the state you want to get to, without regarding it with respect and love, which is why most of it simply doesn't work. Oftentimes not at all. Other times a little bit, right tracks, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, because it's regarding the nervous system as something you dominate rather than a part of you that you love and integrate, which is the approach that I take. And it's worked so well and so fast and brought relief to so many that I'm going to be difficult to convince, be convinced about any other approach to this. So, let's see. Carl, hi GP. I've always felt I pissed my parents off when I was happy. I now stop myself being happy or letting things work out for me. Decades later, part of me still feels there will be a price to pay. Very good. So just tap on that. Yeah. Oh, being happy. There's a price to pay. Can't be happy. Oh, no. If you're happy, you'll get hurt. And if I get hurt by being happy, who the hell wants to be happy? That's stupid. So, yep. To be happy means to have somebody pissed off at you, to be threatened. Right? Of course, as a little kid, your pissed off parents, life and death. These guys hold they hold all the cards. Right? I need them for everything: my clothes, my food, my shelter, everything. I die without them. I can't let them ever see me happy. In other words, I cannot be happy. Reasonable. Absolutely makes total sense. So, what if it was just my parents and not me? What if it's okay to be happy? What if actually being and expressing happiness won't get me hurt? Is that even possible? Maybe it's not. Maybe it isn't possible. Maybe being happy is always going to mean being in danger. Could let the guard down. If I'm happy, I might not be alert. Better not be happy. Maybe that's true. Maybe this is the way it has to be. But I really like being happy. I love the way it feels. Weird that even when there's nobody there, I won't let myself feel happy. Even if I'm by myself, there's nobody that can hurt me. Oh yeah, I see. This is just an assumption, an expectation. So, what if it's not necessarily true? What if there is no price to pay? Just going to invite my nervous system to open up just a little and see. Maybe being happy doesn't automatically mean I will get hurt, that there'll be a price to pay. What if I can be happy sometimes and No consequences other than I just feel happy for a minute. Would that be okay? You open it up and check it out. If it isn't safe, fine. Shut me down. You know how to do that really well. But if it is safe, I'd really like to be happy and safe at the same time. So maybe you can make that happen for me. You're pretty good at this. I'll bet you can do it. In the meantime, thank you. Thank you for taking such great care of me, keeping me safe when it wasn't safe to even be happy. It's more natural for a little kid. But you kept me safe. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. Take a breath. Oh, that's it. Now it's the neck. See, you guys are a pain in the neck and a pain in the ass. Oh, what I have to put up with for you guys. But yeah, this is how you do it. Just gently invite it. Don't force it. And you'll notice towards the end there, I just said thank you to it. Right? If it hadn't been able to do what it did then, you would have been dead. And this wouldn't be happening. So notice it's just a feeling. When you have that feeling, there's a price to pay. Say, okay, maybe there is. Right? But let's not assume there is. Just open up and take a look. Right? And you may notice that I started using the word you. I wasn't talking to your mind. I was talking to the energy. I was talking to the nervous system itself. When you learn how to do this, which is what I teach in the classes, and there's a link to it below if you want to join level 1, which is starting very soon. You could click on that and make sure it goes to the right place. What I'm teaching people how to do is to become safe for yourself. As you do, you become very naturally safe for others as well, because it's all the same. Right? You become safe. You become the safest place in the room. So while you yourself, your nervous system, may not recognize you as safe, it recognizes me as safe. And so it lets it in. So I'll speak directly to it, as if I was talking to another person. People sometimes get confused when I do that and think I'm talking to the conscious mind. I'm not. I'm actually bypassing it and going to that which really does have to feel safe enough to open up. Right? After a while, as you get more practiced at this, it becomes more default, and you find people will naturally gravitate towards you. What that means is that your level of default safety is greater than the person, but it knows, it recognizes safety and finds it. It's connecting on an energetic level. It's not thinking about stuff. It's just responding. It's very much instinctual. So how much have I got here? Oh my God, I got a whole lot. Let's see. Let me look through here. I've got about 20 minutes left. Let me see here. It's not safe to let a man want me. Yes, I like this one for Raham. And I know a lot of women who feel that way. And this is, in fact, it's partially real, right? We have to trust people, right? We have to come to trust men, because men can be dangerous, right? Especially men who have not spiritually matured. They're not in touch with their own feelings. Right? They don't know actually how to be men. Our world is run by boys in men's bodies. They have a very narrow view of what manhood is, and they become quite dangerous. Boy Scouts with heavy artillery. So, what if it's safe to let the right man want you? Would that be okay? As long as he meets the criteria. I mean, he is safe. He's aware enough. He actually can accept me as I am. And, I don't know, whatever you want to add, he's tall, handsome, hot, whatever. Whatever you want to put in it. If it came in the package that did fit the criteria for safety, would that be okay? Because not all men are safe. That's true. But what the nervous system does is say, well, okay, to make sure I don't get hurt, because some men aren't safe, I'm just going to rule them all out. Boom, done. Not quite what we want. We want the safety, but we want the man or the woman, in case of whatever side of the fence you're on. So just inviting the nervous system to not have to be so extreme. A little nuance would be okay. I want to rule out immediately all those that aren't safe, but be open for at least a little exploration for those that at least could be. Take a breath. I'm speeding up here a little bit because Miss Nay noticed a few days ago I never actually had a life outside of people pleasing. So rest and relationship, yes, almost like the system doesn't trust safety. No, it doesn't see rest and relaxation as safe. Of course it trusts safety. That's all it's doing, is making it safe, but making it safe according to its criteria of what safe is. That's not safe. Rest, relaxation, nope. You have to have your guard up in order to be safe. So rest and relaxation are going to be resisted. It's also trauma. Trauma is being in the fight-flight, and the more natural state of rest, relaxation, digest, refresh becomes untrustworthy. That's just from experiencing it a lot, right? Especially as a child. So just allow that to be. And I really urge you, everyone here, I do have a little link to make everybody see it. That. Oops. One of the things that I have discovered over the years is that to bring about a lasting, long-term transformation requires consistency, immersion, guidance. It has to. When I was a young musician, when I played with musicians who were better than me, and it was frightening, but I played better in their presence. Now, when I was out of their presence, I was right back to where I was. But with enough of that, it's almost as if, like by osmosis, the general level gets raised. Raham, who's here actually, commented during the level 2 that the way I teach is more of a transmission than it is teaching, because it's not mental stuff that we're teaching. It's emotional and energetic. And we use the mental stuff to kind of just open the space, point you in the right direction. But I just have to point it out. Right? It's why I've done away with almost all of the, at one time, 120 different courses I was offering, to just focus on non-dual self-inquiry and emotional healing. Yeah? And to do it in such a way that they're multi-week, as well as a bunch of pre-recorded stuff, so I can interact with you regularly. And there's a group of people that are all going through it, or have gone through it, that you can also interact with, because it takes an ongoing exposure and a guidance by somebody who's done it already to bring it to a place where your whole default level of being raises up, until the things I'm saying now just become, yeah, of course, they become assumed. Say, why? He's not such a big deal. Of course, it's obvious. I hope for that. Yeah, I want to be obsolete. So let me go back and look here really quick, about 10 minutes. Let's see. So did you get that? Just omschool.ca/EFT. Couldn't be easier. Okay? But I do highly recommend it. It's just the best. Right? When you have the opportunity to be to be exposed to it through somebody who lives it, who's been through all the crap you've been through. Right? I've seen the potholes, and I didn't have somebody to guide me immediately. That came much later. So anyway, let's see. Barb, not sure I have time for this. If you don't, I'll catch you later. I realize my mother fantasies are a way for me to heal my core wounds, and they feel like memories, not fantasies. They very well may be. They very well may be. Memories are very fragile. They're not really trustworthy. Something that we might think is a fantasy may in fact be a memory. What we have as memories may actually be snippets. It could be a movie you saw. It could be somebody else's experience mixed in with something that really did happen. What I take everything that comes up as, it doesn't have to be historically, literally true. All it has to be is true as far as the nervous system is concerned. It's an image that accurately represents what's going on inside. And as such, it's true. So we don't need to prove whether it happened in a past life or it's historical, because you'll never really know. You know, nobody can get out of now, go back 20 years or 30 years or whatever, and see what actually happened. That's what happened, and then come back. Nobody can do it. And even if you did, you'd be seeing that circumstance 30 years ago from the perspective of the one who's now. So it's not knowable. So you accept it as the truth that is being given to you. It accurately represents the internal state. I cover that in level 2, by the way. Miss Day is learning to have patience. Yes. Patience with the nervous system that is being resistant. It's learning that relaxation and rest is safe. And you can tell, when you get a sense of relief, when you're doing tapping on something, what that is the nervous system feels safe enough that the defenses are coming down a bit. That becomes consistent. If the safety is consistent, it comes down a bit and it stays there. It doesn't go back up again. You keep going, it goes deeper and deeper until the sense of being safe in my own skin is in fact your default state. Rest and relaxation is the natural state. And that's when the genuine, authentic self begins to just emerge on its own. Cease, Ali, the space for me knows what it wants, just not what it looks like or how to attain it. Wants safety, freedom, and security. All right, good. All of those can be attained despite the circumstances. Once they are, they will dictate the circumstances. So we won't look for safety and freedom in the conditions anymore. We find it here. And then that alters, adjusts, manifests as conditions. This is a complete 180 from how most people do. We assume that I've got to have the conditions of safety and security and love and all of that. If I don't have those conditions, I don't have it. Right? That's the big mistake. This is where emotional healing and spirituality become buddies. They begin to dance with one another. Yes. Oh, Maze, good to see you. Greetings from France. Wonderful that you could make it. Bar, I also want the memories to be real, and they weren't. It was so sad. Well, they might be. Here's the thing. We don't know. We don't know, Barb. We don't. They're real as far as the energy system is concerned. And that's all you need to know. Your body regards these as real. Good. Good enough for me. Okay? So I work with them just like that. I'd treat it with rest. Villian, thank you, GP. It gives a helicopter view, and I start laughing. Yes, it is so simple indeed. Indeed it is. Ida, your leg. Treat it with rest. Compression, healing the leg, high for pain relief. Further treatment and training should be done early. Yes, ma'am. You obviously do this for people. Yes, I've been sitting on ice, right? Not very comfortable, but needed. Victoria, gee, question. The I'm lovable visualization is as I am right now, right? Because at the beginning was imagining that I was already lovable according to my desires in a kind of law of attraction-ish way. Very good. Yeah. It's just, I don't want to have to rely on circumstances being perfect for me to be lovable. That's just too much damn work, and I'm a lazy guy. I want my freedom, my sense of my own value and worth and lovableness to not be so dependent on conditions that I'm striving all the time to get them or maintain them. Has anybody noticed? It's not easy. And even if you get them, they just kind of they just kind of fall away. Because not everything's unstable. Everything changes. Right? Emotional freedom is about finding it within yourself. Right? That you are actually lovable right now. No matter what the conditions are. I mean, you were lovable as a child. And if you got the message, you weren't. It's from the conditions. It's not that you weren't. It's that the conditions convinced you that you weren't. It becomes an assumption. We live it out. It seems to be true. This is how the whole thing works. Right? So you're imagining lovable according to your desires, which means the conditions necessary that would then tell me I was lovable. What I want to do with emotional freedom is show you that you make the conditions internally, which then reflect themselves outside. This you can do. That you can't. Nobody has the power to control conditions. That kind of delusion that I can control conditions is what leads to the incredibly dangerous and stupid state that our world is in right now. People trying to control everything. Oof. Christina, did you say something earlier that I missed? We love us anyway. I do. I do. There's nothing unlovable about you. It's that simple. And that's the truth. Just like the little child, there's nothing unlovable about them. If the parents aren't capable of love, the child will get the message, I'm not lovable. And will persist. Right? And then seek conditions. Well, if this person would treat me like this, then I'll be lovable. And they might for a while, and then they don't. Right? You go up and down with conditions. Oh, it's so painful. When the truth is, you're lovable. Always have been. We just believe we're not. Isn't that amazing? And because we believe we're not, we experience it as true, even when it isn't. You are all valuable, lovable, beautiful, desirable, interesting. Worth knowing. Mm. Carl, thank you, G, for being the safe space my parents never could. Yeah, I've become everybody's dad, everybody's grandpa. You know, when I first became a grandfather, it wasn't that long ago. My granddaughter's only 8. It's a bit of an adjustment. You know, my son waited very late in life. I mean, I think he was, well, she's 8, he's 50, so he's 42, right? By the time he had a child. And I was like, it took me an adjustment to be grandpa. What? I'm not a grandpa. Now I'm loving it. Now I'm really enjoying it. I just enjoy being, for everybody, a safe place. Right? You'll not find any judgment here. Not find any criticism. Yeah, because there's none here. I know you as you are. And I know that you may not see it, but but that doesn't mean it's not there. That's the whole point of this. That's the beauty of this. Kim, greetings. Greetings to you. Raham says, exactly. Yes. Good. Yeah. I can even see your smile now. I love working with Raham. I can see she's like grimacing, and then a little bit, just as the energy opens up. She's fun to watch. She's healing. And a quick tell. Kim, thank you for that. Right before I found your video, I was struggling with trust in a man. Yeah. We think we have to. Don't force yourself to trust. And don't automatically revert to distrust. Right? That's the extremes. Force myself to do it. I gotta trust him. Everybody says he's trustworthy. And then internally it's like, don't trust anybody. Right? Obviously, neither one of those ways is very functional in life, is it? So you work with yourself to say, okay, I don't want to trust anyone who's not trustworthy, but I do want to trust a man who is trustworthy. Of course, because then I can feel safe with him. I can feel close. I can feel intimate. I can let myself be myself. I can express myself. I can ask for what I want without being criticized or shamed. That's what we want. That's what intimacy is. That's what relationships are supposed to be. We have to let ourselves have them. And that comes with a trust, right, in our capacity to work with the energy as it is. And then let it open. Right? And it becomes absolutely dead nuts accurate. I mean, it just doesn't miss. When it's freed, when there's danger, there's really danger. If there's a distrust, he's not trustworthy. Period. There's no question. Because the internal gut instinct, it knows. It doesn't debate. It isn't got the mind looking at conditions. It just knows. This is the inner knowing, right, that gets freed. This is our inner wisdom that goes way beyond. So, Miss Nay joined level 1 this week. Yay! Fantastic. I've got to check a lot of things. I had to make a lot of changes to a lot of stuff. Because this is the 3rd time I'm doing level 1, and I want to keep the private stuff. I'm going to put this up here. One more time. I want to keep the stuff that happens in the class, I want to keep it private. So I just leave that just for that group. So the next group that comes in, they're not going to see the live and stuff from previous groups. It's just them. Because we create a safe space, and we don't want to violate that. But then all the pre-recorded material is available to everybody always. So I put that into a different place. That's that. So by all means, please come. Ms. Nay, you will not regret it. It's the best thing ever. Yeah. Oh, yes. It's beautiful to watch people just blossom into themselves. And some stuff's sticky. It takes a while. I was a very severely abused kid. Right? And When I had my first spiritual experience, I was a completely dysfunctional young man. I was 19. So I was a mess. When I had that spiritual experience, I was still just hopelessly addicted to all sorts of drugs and stuff. And it just came out of nowhere. Saved my ass. All of that stuff fell away. But then I had to learn how to live in life, which I had no idea how to do. That took a while. That took a while. And many spiritual experiences that kind of moved me on the path, but none of them mitigated the need for emotional healing and to come to a place of emotional, a sense of safety and stability. None of them did. I thought they were supposed to. Then I learned otherwise, little by little. It took me a long time. So I'm going to save you a lot of time. I'm going to save you years in monastery, years in therapy. I swear to God. Yeah. Guaranteed. Or your money back. Right? It's not all that expensive. So, all right, everybody. Love you, G. Love you too, Barb. And Christina, love you. Me too, me too, me too. Thank you, G, for being here. Once more, I pray you will be well very, very soon. Yes. Yes, just kind of let it be what it is. Ow. I'm just happy now that I get to kind of let this go and I can get up and walk around a little bit before I have to, an errand I have to do. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining me in this. Those of you who are in level 2, I will have level 3 ready soon. And level 1, level 2 is ready. I will have it ready for you to register very soon, next couple of days, to get into that stuff where it just goes deeper. But it's the same stuff. So thank you, GP. Thank you, Amy and Brenda. Thank you, Allie, the Braham. You guys are wonderful. I love you all so much. So, maybe you'll be at satsang tomorrow. Till then, see you in class. Bye, everybody.